Still says scheduled. There we go. Broadcast is now live. Hello, everyone. I am Vince Montero. Welcome to the new year, 2022. This is our first session of the year. Had a hiatus in January. Got to do a little bit of traveling. Hope everyone watching had a wonderful holiday and a great new year. I know we're a month into it at this point, or actually just over a month. It's February 1st. Let us know where you guys are checking in from. I know we haven't been on in I think 6 weeks was my last session, December 7th, I believe. So I always like to ask, if you guys where you're checking in from. Let us know in the comment section so we can shout out to you guys. If you guys are new to Tacos Tuesday, I'll do a quick introduction for myself. My name is Vince Montero. I am the Senior Product Marketing Manager for Atomic, which is our PPC marketing platform. I've been working at Helium 10 for over 2 years now and working on basically PPC solutions that entire time. So if you are a user of our PPC solution, you might have seen me in some pro trainings. And these are kind of our extended versions of our trainings that I like to do now on a monthly basis. So brand new for 2022, we're just doing these once a month on the first Tuesday of every single month. So I know our calendar sometimes was a little bit confusing. Tacos Tuesday at 10. Well, which Tuesday was it? And it was always changing. So we've decided to make a dedicated calendar for 2022. So if you want to mark your calendars, the first Tuesday, whatever that is, the next first Tuesday is actually March 1st. So I'll be on two firsts coming up at 10 o'clock. And we're going to actually have a sign-up page if you guys want to. Maybe we could show that later in the episode. We have a guest list if you guys want to get notified of the upcoming sessions. We're going to have that available to you, so you'll get kind of email notifications versus just us posting on social media. Oh, look, we got some people in the house international. India, Italy, Crystal Lake, Illinois, from France, Pennsylvania, Pakistan, Estonia. Wow, very international crew. We're streaming live from YouTube, Facebook, and I believe on LinkedIn as well. So very nice to see everyone here from all the different parts of the globe. We're moving it to once a month because we want to put more time and idea and content together for you guys. That does take a little bit more time. Plus, I'm going to be actually more actively engaged with our customer success team, doing additional trainings for them as well. Lots of new things coming up from a training perspective for all Helium 10 users, but especially for Atomic. And so that's why we decided to do once a month. We're going to have special guests, like in this session today. I have a very special guest, PPC expert, someone that I talk with a lot about different PPC strategies, and it's always a good time. Mina Elias of Trivium Agency, and he'll tell a little bit more about himself in his intro. And today's topic is, what's the best practices for getting your keywords and then ranking those keywords? How do you track that? How do you do that? How do you use PPC to help you with those particular steps? So we're going to go through some content. What I would like to ask everyone is, let us get through our slides, our presentation. There is some slides. There's a live portion that Mina is going to also do as well. And if you have questions, write them down. You might get the question answered in the content later on. But then when we're done, we're going to go and do a Q&A, and you guys can ask your questions live. But again, after the content, it'll be about maybe 30, 35 minutes worth of content. Brian's in the UK on a night shift. That's great. Well, it shouldn't be too late. So I try to do these at 10, so it's not too late for a lot of people. I know most of our webinars are at 11 o'clock, so I like to be a little bit an hour earlier for people to watch in different parts of the world. Another thing that I'll just mention, we do have an email that you can send questions to ahead of time, or topics. If you guys have particular topics that you'd like to see me discuss, again, anything related to PPC. If it's not related to PPC, then it's not a topic I'm going to cover. I am, again, the PPC specialist here. I manage and help run the PPC platform. So that is the types of questions that I need to receive. If you've got topics, please send them our way. There is an email, ppc ama@helium10.com, which we'll post in the channels here. So if you've got questions that maybe you think of after this episode, like you're like, oh crap, I forgot to ask that question, just send an email. It's an inbox only. You're not going to get a reply. Don't expect a reply, but I do see them. And so at the beginning of these episodes, I like to answer a couple of those questions. So that's what I'm going to do right now as we start today's session. Hopefully everyone has had time to check in. Thanks for tuning in again and letting us know where you guys are all at. Brian's just tuning in from Los Angeles. Working on some flat files. Great. Well, hopefully we can help you with that. So like I said, we get some questions ahead of time. So today we're just going to pop a couple of those questions on. I'm going to answer them. Hopefully you guys find value in that. And then we're going to go ahead and get into the content. So let's get question 1 up on the screen. All right. Rashmi asked, I'm very new for Amazon PPC and Helium 10, and I want to learn Helium 10 step by step. How can I do this? Please tell me any way to learn about all Helium 10 tools. So this is a very valid question. We get this quite often. And to me, we just need to do a better job of making our content and our training, very easily accessible and very clear. So what I would suggest, Rashmi, is to go into your members area and click on the little question mark icon. Maybe I can even show later, but there is a knowledge base section of Helium 10 that you can go and learn all about different kinds of tools. If you just want to learn about Atomic, you would go to marketing, and then marketing would have everything related to Atomic. If you're already an Atomic user, there is, and I know it's kind of difficult to see sometimes, on every single page, there is actually a learn button next to each title. So if I'm on the dashboard of Atomic, there's actually a learn button next to it. If I'm on Ad Manager, there's a little learn button next to that. Click on that. There's a bunch of pro trainings that you can then watch and make sure that you are up to date on the latest things. But the best way really to learn about the Helium 10 tools is Freedom Ticket. Freedom Ticket's available to everybody from our starter plan and up, which I believe is only $39. Don't quote me on that. But if you are a Helium 10 member, that means you have access to Freedom Ticket. So Freedom Ticket is, when you log in, it's one of the top titles in that dashboard. Click on Freedom Ticket, go to 3.0, and you've got 10, maybe even 11 weeks now, or longer maybe, worth of content that you can go to and learn step by step. I highly suggest, if you are super brand new, Rashmi, start from week 1, go to week 10 or week 11. I'm at the end, actually, as well as Mina is actually included in our Freedom Ticket sessions as well. So, we do that in order on purpose, so you learn all the basics first before you do more advanced things such as PPC. So definitely take advantage of Freedom Ticket if you have not already done that. All right, second question. Dave, I have 3 very similar products in the same category. 90% of the keywords I use would be the same for each. How do I manage this in Atomic so I'm not bidding against myself for these search terms? So it's interesting, and we see this question quite a bit. So Dave is asking kind of about 2 different things. So in the first part, he's saying keywords, but in the second part, he's actually noting search terms. So the keywords are the things that you're bidding on in Seller Central or in Atomic if you're using our tool. But the search terms are actually the things that are that the customer is typing in, the shopper is typing in. So really, you want to pay attention more to, do you have exact match keywords that are competing against each other in different campaigns? But even as Dave says, he's got very similar products. So you've got lots of different campaign types. You've got sponsored brands, sponsored display, you've got your standard sponsored product campaigns. You're going to have duplicate keywords. But you want to have those duplicate keywords across all the different campaign types. So because they are obviously relevant to your product. So you don't really want to get into thinking that you're competing against yourself. Number one, Amazon states that you don't compete against yourself with keywords in an account. So I don't know how they verify that, but that is something that is stated. But if you're super worried about it, the only ones I'd be concerned with are your exact match keywords, because your exact match keywords are, they're exact. So if you've got a campaign, if 2 sponsor product campaigns and the exact same keywords in them, just make them the same bid. So you're not worrying about competing against yourself. But I also think it's kind of, when you really think about it, if your keywords are really, really important and have a lot of search volume, you're talking about hundreds and thousands of other people that are probably bidding on the same keyword. So the fact that you're bidding on the same keyword, even if it's a slightly different bid, I mean, it wouldn't even matter, right? It doesn't matter. But if you're really super concerned about it and you want to just track your budgets, then just pay attention to your exact match keywords and just make them the same bid. And you can do that in Atomic, but you can also do that, just in Seller Central. All right, so I've got a couple of questions about. Vincenzo is asking, what is Atomic? Well, again, it's our PPC platform. So if you don't know what that is, just go to Helium 10 and check that out. There's a couple of questions does Helium 10 offer lifetime subscriptions? I have no idea. That's not what today's session was for. If you do have questions about subscriptions or anything like that, you want to email support@helium10.com. So that is another email that I like to throw out there because people get confused and start asking me questions that are not related to PPC. So make sure you ask those questions to support@helium10.com. If you've got any problems with any tools, don't ask me questions about that. I have no idea. This session, again, is about PPC. And if you saw the topic of today's session, you know what we're going to be talking about. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce or let Mina Elias introduce himself, and we're going to get into some content. All right. Mina, the man, the legend. How are you?
Amazing. It's Tuesday. I woke up, got my workout in, and now doing some amazing content with you. So I'm glad. This is really fun for me.
How's your new year been so far?
Good, very crazy, very busy. I think the last like 2 or 3 weeks of New Year, no one was answering anything, any emails or any messages. It was, everyone kind of was checked out. And now that they, when January 3rd rolled in, which was a Monday, it was just like I got thousands of emails and messages and texts and everything. And so it's been crazy. It's already February. I can't believe it's already February. Time flies. So, but I'm happy. It's an amazing year so far. So I'm excited.
Cool. Well, I'm super excited about the content. I've already talked about and what we're going to share with you guys today. So again, we're going to go through some slides that Mina has carefully put together for us. We're going to go through a live portion of some of the stuff that he's going to cover, and then again after that, we're going to get to your questions. So hold them until that time, and then we'll get to them afterwards. All right. Take it away, Mina.
Awesome. So. Like Vince said, my name is Mina Elias, aka the Egyptian Prescription. My agency is called Trivium Group. We're an Amazon advertising agency, and I essentially became a seller on Amazon in 2018. I have a bachelor's in chemical engineering and a master's in industrial engineering, and I worked in corporate, 9 to 5, just like a lot of people, I'm sure. And I didn't like it. I didn't like what I was doing. So I decided to start a supplement brand. I had no idea how to sell supplements. So I started trying to sell them in stores and in the gyms, and it wasn't working well. And I figured, like, why don't I just try and get it on Amazon? That's where I'm buying all of my supplements. So, I worked hard. I followed Helium 10's trainings, stuff like that. I was, watching all the YouTube videos, all this in the groups. And I figured out how to start selling on Amazon. I got it on Amazon, and I grew my supplement brand to over 7 figures in sales. And I started giving back to the Facebook groups by answering a lot of questions. I'm an engineer, and PPC is a lot of like kind of technical and patterns and numbers. So I just was, it was pretty easy for me. Not easy, but it came naturally. And so when I start sharing this information, people loved it. So I start sharing it more and more. I became better friends with Helium 10. I started sharing what I learned through building my business, with them. And then, in early 2021, I started training some aggregators, their PPC teams and how to build systems and processes for the PPC, and eventually started Trivium Group, which is the Amazon advertising agency, where we just full on take it over, manage all the PPC. And it makes sense because, for me, I have someone that does that for Facebook and for Google and for listing optimization. Right. So, It's just as a CEO, you can't really do everything. But yeah, today what I want to cover is how to use PPC to influence organic ranking, and how to monitor it, and how to choose which keywords. So um, I'm going to share my screen, and let's get right into it. So organic ranking through PPC, how to figure that out. Now, what are we going to cover today? How to identify which keywords we want to rank for, and because a lot of people are always wondering, which keywords should we rank for, which keywords should I have in my back end, what should I have in my title and what bullet points. So this is going to be a good one to show you that. Benchmarking your current indexing and ranking, so understanding what keywords you're currently ranked for and at what position, and then this way you can start comparing. Say, okay, this today for the keyword mushroom coffee, I'm ranked position 85. Let's do some things to improve that, and then next week, what is my new position? So let's launch an exact keyword campaign. Let's launch a broad, let's launch a phrase one, and then for that keyword, let's see a week from today, did I go from 85 to 60, and then am I going to 30? Because we want to get to high organic ranking, and potentially get a lot of sales from people seeing us in these high rankings. So again, who's Mina Elias? I covered this. Chemical engineer. I started Hard Work, which is my supplement brand. Created PPC University, which was education on PPC. The brand grew, and then in 2021, I started my agency. So let's all be clear on what the goal of PPC is. So if we all understand, we're on the same page, it's easier to explain. So the goal of PPC is to drive traffic to your listing as cheap as possible, and improve your organic ranking to drive free traffic. So the goal is to, let's say, you're getting 100 people a day to your listing, and out of those 100 people, 10 people buy. You have a 10% conversion rate. If you can get 1 million people to your listing, you get 100,000 people a day to convert. So that's kind of the goal, is how do we get as many people as possible to our listing, but do it as cheap as possible. And if you're doing it organically, you're doing it free. So that's why we're using PPC, is to, okay, if I can spend $2 and someone can come to my listing and convert, perfect. Then for every $2 I'm spending, I'm making, let's say, $20-$30 sale. And if my organic ranking is going up, then all these free searches are coming in, they're clicking on my listing and they're converting. So I'm going to go through step by step what to do to figure out what keywords we need to rank for. So the first thing is pretty simple. And actually, I'm gonna do it live for you guys. So instead of going through the presentation, let me just share my window, and we can do it live. So
yeah, the words were pretty small, so
perfect. So the first thing that I did is I went to Amazon and I typed in my main keyword, which is mushroom coffee. Now I'm just giving an example of mushroom coffee. If you don't know your main keyword, I suggest you go to Helium 10 magnet, type in your main keyword, and then figure out what is like that the highest search volume keyword that makes sense. Where when you open up the search results, you can type in a keyword and then click open up the search results. All of the results are your competitors, right? So if you're selling like a wallet, let's say, and it's an RFID blocking wallet, don't just use the keyword wallet, because then you're just going to get all the different types of wallets possible. But maybe you want to type in RFID wallet or protective wallet, something like that. I don't know, whatever the highest search volume keyword is. So we type that high search volume keyword. I don't know why this says delivered to Ukraine. Anyways, it should be the USA. But I type in the high search volume keyword, and it gets me a bunch of results here. So click on the Helium 10 Chrome extension, click on X-ray. X-ray opens up. This is what it looks like. I click on revenue, and it sorts by revenue, and I'm going to choose 10 competitors with the highest revenue. Now, some products are not competitors. For example, this is a K-cup. My product is not. My product looks like this. It's a bag of mushroom coffee. It's not a cup. It's not pills. So I want to choose 10 of the products that are mushroom coffee powder. So once I've done that, I'm going to use those products to figure out what they're ranking for in terms of keywords, and then say, okay, this is what I should be ranking for. So you're going to, once you select the 10 products, you're going to click run keyword search. This is going to open up Cerebro right away. And as you can see here, it put in the 10 ASINs, and it already ran, and we got all of the keywords. But I'm not interested in all of the keywords because some of the keywords might not be relevant. So I click on advanced filters, or click here, like show more for filters. I want the search volume to be at least 500. If it's below 500, it's not that important to me. I want the ranking to be maximum 60. So if you're, yeah, let's say there's a keyword, mushroom, blah, 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 and everyone's ranked on position 280, I don't care about that keyword, right? It's not an important keyword for me. I care about where they're ranked on maybe page 1 or 2 maximum. And then this is ranking competitors. I'm going to do a minimum of 7. This means that at least 7 out of these, or at least 8 out of these 10 competitors are ranking for those keywords. So, I don't want to say, like, for example, Four Sigmatic might have a bunch of Four Sigmatic keywords. I don't care about the Four Sigmatic. That's a brand name. I care about the keywords where all of them are ranked. The reason I'm not doing like 9, which will do the all 10 products have in common, because sometimes it's a little bit too rigid and we get 0 results. So I'm doing 7 to be a little bit lenient. If I get a really big list, I'm gonna, I might move it up to 8. So I'm gonna click apply filters here. And
real quick, Mina. So just because I'm thinking about it as you're doing this, I'm pretty, I guess, not liberal, but my minimum is 1,000, right? If it doesn't have more than or less than, if it's less than 1,000, it's not a keyword that's important to me. But that got me thinking. You could kind of use this method to figure out even uh, you know long tail keywords versus
yeah,
super high volume keywords. So if you guys want to do multiple different types of campaigns, but make sure that the search volumes are very, very similar, then this is the way that you want to make sure that you want to use these filters to make sure that you're finding keywords that are the same, search volumes. Maybe you want to do low search volume campaign. Maybe you want to do middle ground,
yeah.
and then a high search volume. And you want to make sure that you then put those similar keywords, into their own separate campaigns. If you watch Freedom Ticket, Mina does a great job actually in that session about campaign structures, where we talk about that and the rules around that. But this is an area, particularly using Helium 10, obviously to do that. So I just wanted to add that note.
Cool. And by the way, guys, this is not like some sort of law, right? You can change this however you want. So for me, I'm like, okay, at least 500. We could go down to 300, right? Because every 300 search volume keywords is 1,000 search volume keyword, essentially. This you might be, no, like 60 is too lenient. Maybe you want to cut it down to 30. You want to see the very important keywords. And I don't know. So like, let's say if we move this up to 8, and we apply the filter, let's see how many keywords. So with 7, we got 67 keywords. With 8, we got 53 keywords. Okay. So that's fine. And this is a pretty good list. And we sorted by search volume: mushrooms, mushroom coffee, mushroom powder, mud water, Four Sigmatic, mud water, coffee alternative, lion's mane. So you can see here a lot of keywords that you want to be ranking for. Now, I'm not positive like these are the right ones. You have to kind of really do your research on the products and make sure you're selecting the top 10 products. But we're just going through this as an example because everyone's going to have a different product. Then I'm going to highlight all of the keywords here. So rows per, I'm going to go the maximum rows per page. I'm going to highlight all of the keywords here. You generally want to have like, no more than 200 or so keywords. And then I'm going to click add keywords to my list. And then I can create a new folder and I can say like, we'll call this test tacos. Okay. And then click save, right? So now I click save, and let's add the keywords to this list. Okay, so I added 53 keywords to the Test Tacos Tuesday list. Now, next step is let's go and track it. I'm going to go here to Keyword Tracker, add a new product. I'll add the ASIN, and then when I'm going to upload the keywords, I'm just going to click Upload from my list and choose Test Tacos Tuesday. I uploaded all of the keywords. I just have to put the ASIN here. So let's say that I was tracking, let's go back here. Let's say I'm tracking this one. I'm going to copy this. Oh, I guess it can't track something that's not your product, right? hold on. Here we go. Okay, perfect. So I put in the ASIN. It's gonna tell me what the ASIN is, and I'm gonna begin tracking it. Okay, no. So this is the ASIN, and I'm gonna begin tracking it with those keywords, right? And I'm gonna click start tracking. Obviously, I'm not gonna do this. I don't want to use it up. And then what I'm gonna do is every week I'm gonna export and click current result. And I want to build a spreadsheet that looks something like this. So this is all the keywords. This is their search volume, and this is the organic rank every single week. So December 8th, December 14th, December 20th, December 27th. So every week I'm going to keyword tracker, export current results, and then I'm make sure that you have sorted alphabetical order. You're not adding any new keywords or removing any keywords because it's going to mess up the order. But once you do that, you're going to go ahead and copy all of the organic ranking that you have. And then look, so you can see, okay, these ones, our ranking is not moving. Let's create some exact and broad and phrase keyword campaigns for those keywords. If it's an important keyword for me, like a very high search volume keyword, let's say it's like this one, right? It's a 5,000 search volume keyword. I'll put it in its own campaign, give it a high bid, a high budget, and then monitor it. And the goal is to do something like, let's see. The goal is to do something like this, right? Where initially we weren't ranked, and then we start getting ranked, better and better and better. And sometimes if you feel like, okay, I have the PPC campaigns, they're on, you can put a note, right? You can put a note, add a column for a note and say launched, PPC broad or phrase or exact or whatever. And maybe it's not working. You can also go into your listing and you can go and edit the listing and add it in your bullet points, add it in your search terms, add it in your enhanced brand content, add it somewhere on the listing. So maybe the combination of the PPC and that, it's going to trigger Amazon to say, hey, okay, this keyword is relevant for them because it makes sense in the category, it's in their listing, and they're running PPC for it. And so the goal for me is to see how can I take all of, if we like combine the search volume, it's 457,000 searches a month. So my goal is like, okay, can I rank on page one for that many? If I could, that would be amazing because I would get so much, clicks and so many sales on my listing every day. So what I'm doing is I'm identifying the keywords and I'm saying, okay, these ones we're not ranking for. Are they in our listing? And you can use Helium 10's like index checker. I believe, let's see, where is it? Analytics, keyword research. Where is it, Vince? Do you know where index checker is?
You know what? No,
Right here. Sorry.
Yeah, it's so small.
Sorry. So in listing optimization, you just click on index checker and you can check, are you being indexed for this keyword? If you are being indexed for the keyword, then if you run enough PPC, you should generally start to move up. You obviously have to convert. So I would, start selecting. You can add filters and say, okay, let's focus on the big ones. So let's focus on this one. That's a 2,000 searches. This is a 931 searches. This is 61,000 searches. This is 6,000 searches. This is 10,000 searches. What you can do is you can say, okay, these are really important keywords for me to rank for. Let's start ranking. If you feel like, for these bigger keywords, I'm spending money. I see my rank go up as soon as I cut my PPC because it's not profitable. I see my rank go down. Start with the easier ones. Start with the ones that have 600, 200, 300. They add up. Every 300 search volume keyword is 1,000. So if you do 10 of those, that's 3,000. If you do 30 of those, that's 10,000. So it's not hard to build that search volume, but if you're able to show up on page one for all of these keywords, you're eventually going to get a lot of clicks into your listing. And if you have a good conversion rate, you're going to get a lot of sales. And the best part about organic ranking is you don't have to continue to spend money on it. Now, if we were spending money on PPC and we saw the rank go up and then we stopped spending money and then we saw the rank go down, then say, okay, now it's time for us to increase the spend a little bit more until we get to this point where our organic ranking is sticking, our PPC is at a decent point, and we're not like losing a lot of money. And if you have a notes column, you can, you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to do this for every single keyword all the time. But if you pick 10 keywords a week and say, okay, for these 10 keywords, I'm going to track. And then next week you add another 10 keywords, and then maybe you wait a couple of weeks where you make sure those 20 keywords are moving fine. And then, 2 weeks later, you add another 10 keywords. I mean, there's 52 weeks in the year. If you did that for 10 keywords every single week, even if you could hit like, in 26 weeks, which is half the year, times 10, 260 different keywords. And even if they have a small search volume, it'll add up. So that's that. So I guess we went through this. That's it. Q&A time.
Perfect. So yeah, that was a lot of information. So thank you for sharing that, Mina. There's definitely some gold in putting some. The biggest takeaway for me is, create some processes, right?
Yeah.
So you've got your own spreadsheets that you did. I remember back in the day when I was managing PPC for clients, I would do the same thing with keywords, and I would have to note every single time I changed a keyword bit, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. So you need to create processes. Nowadays, you don't need to do that. You've got different tools. If you're using Atomic, you don't need to do that. Everything's recorded in our change log. But doing things like that are not yet automated right now, like pulling reports out of Keyword Tracker, and then actually keeping track of your organic ranking for some of your keywords. We have the tool there, like we have Keyword Tracker, but you still need to create some processes around them and create some spreadsheets and such around them. So I know there were some questions, but I just got noted that we missed a question earlier from the pre-questions. So and actually I was looking at it, and I realized that it's probably a really good question to ask or to include Mina in the question. So there was a question from Bryson. If we can pop that on the screen really quick, and then we'll start going through some of the other questions. So Bryson asks, I'm interested to know how you allocate budget between sponsored product, sponsored display, and display/DSP. So he's talking about sponsored display product targeting. The brands I represent tend to live bottom funnel. Love seeing the ROI, but without a solid top funnel, we struggle with new customer penetration. So do you have a kind of thoughts on, specific budgets for per campaign types that you think would be applicable here?
Yeah. So with sponsored products, it should essentially take 80%, in my opinion, of your budget. Now, I don't like to have a budget, right? Because if it's working, then there's really no need for a budget. You just keep improving it. So the way I would think about it is, you launch sponsored products and you maximize what you can on sponsored products advertising, and then you use display. Like there's a few cases where you use display all the time, or sponsor brand, and it's when you're protecting your brand, like branded keywords, so you'll have that running. But then from there, after you already have that, you're like, and then there's also like the retargeting feature, which is nice. Definitely use that. Retarget people who have purchased from you or who viewed but haven't purchased. But aside from that, I would say, okay, there's two types of situations here. The first situation is, you're already doing well on page one with your sponsor product, or maybe you're doing well on page two, whatever. Test adding sponsor brand or sponsored display. It's gonna start spending, obviously. Will it increase the overall revenue? If it does, great, keep it. If it doesn't, you remove it, because then now you're just getting clicked on twice with the same person. Now, the other situation is, you're unable to succeed with sponsored products. You've negative keywords. You've said this keyword is too expensive, the bid is too high on this one, whatever. So it didn't work out with sponsored products advertising. What about sponsored display or sponsored brand or video? Can I win with that second placement? So those are the cases. Besides branded keywords, obviously you want to cover the whole thing. But besides that, now when you're talking about DSP is as if you're running Facebook ads or Google ads. It's a completely different thing. And so if you're running sponsored products advertising, you're great. You're capturing high intent. Now, when you go to DSP, it becomes a funnel. Okay, so how does the funnel work? You begin by doing remarketing if you're a product that you purchase them again and again. So if you're a supplement or a cosmetic or something that you need to replenish, we say, okay, everyone who's bought from me in the last 180 days but hasn't purchased in the last 30 days, let's cover that segment. So you start running ads to those people. Then you move a little bit up. Everyone who's visited my page in the last 30 days, for example, but hasn't bought me or my competitors in, like, let's say the last 45 days. So let's start targeting them. Now that's all retargeting. So you might get spend, you might not see an immediate lift in the revenue because you're still not feeding the funnel. You just have the bottom of it. So now you move a step up and you say, okay, let me target competitors. And you start targeting everyone who's visited your competitor pages or purchased from your competitors, but hasn't converted in the last 30 days or whatever. And so you're like, okay, these people, it only makes sense, purchase your competitor product if you have a replenishable product. But if it's a one-time purchase, it's only people who visited but haven't purchased at all. So you say, like, everyone who's visited these pages but hasn't purchased in the last 180 days. We want to target them. So now you're targeting those a little bit upper funnel. Now I'll give you some pricing or budgeting, but usually the remarketing 2,000 a month, the retargeting 2,000 a month, and then every piece of the funnel I would add $2,000 a month. You might have to spend more on certain, it becomes an optimization, right? You have to optimize the budget for whichever segment, but your goal with the bigger segments, like the broader higher funnel segments, which is the competitor targeting, the analog product targeting. So let's say I'm selling a keto product and I'm gonna target people doing ketone strips, or I'm selling a wallet and I'm gonna target people who bought something where people also buy wallets, something, mushroom coffee, people who bought coffee creamer, something like that. Then I'm gonna move up to in market. Then I'm gonna move up to just general demographic. And so every step I go up in the funnel, at least 2,000. And the main KPI for those higher ones is click-through rate and detail page view rate. So I'm making sure those higher ones, they're just clicking, they're interested. And then that's how I'm optimizing. I just want them to click, because as soon as they click, now they're getting captured by my retargeting. And sometimes, I'm spending 2,000, but I have 3 upper funnel segments. And I'm like, okay, the $2,000 retargeting is not enough. I'm using my budget too quickly. I got to expand that to $6,000 a month. So that's how the budget works for DSP, but it's completely separate, because now you're just targeting different audience segments and then retargeting them, and it's on different placements.
Right.
So that's my thoughts on.
Yeah. And just so everyone's clear, like, you can only do sponsored brands, sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored display product targeting, or audiences, or remarketing, as Mina mentioned, if you're brand registered. So if you're not brand registered, you're missing out on a bunch of different campaign types. Right now, if you're not brand registered, all you have access to is just your sponsored product campaigns, which are keyword based or ASIN based for product targeting. Still powerful, but not the full arsenal. So, and you will find, as Mina said, sometimes keywords work in some placements better than they do in other placements. So you really won't know until you start testing. But the key is, especially in the testing phase anyway, when it comes to budget questions, just make sure you have enough budget at the beginning to make sure you're testing that campaign type accurately, right? And then you can make budget allocation decisions after that. All right, great answer to that question. So we're going to attempt to go, I know there was some questions towards the beginning. Some of them we've kind of already covered through this episode. So hopefully you guys will realize those questions have been answered. But this one I thought was interesting from KK Han. Is there a way to know which keywords drive PPC as well as organic sales from Helium 10? So obviously, if you're using Atomic, then that is the tool from Helium 10 that you can see which keywords are driving sales for your PPC. But as Mina showed, you want to use Keyword Tracker just to see what you're ranking for. But there really isn't a way to know there's no such thing as keywords tracking organic sales. That's the whole point of it being organic. So I wanted to see to get your when you get this question, which I'm sure you do.
Yeah,
So
it's
what do you
impossible. It's impossible because also like yeah, it's just impossible. There's no way that we know that organic there's a way, or PPC there's a way, because people click on an ad and then they're like, okay, we know that this person clicked on this ad and this is the keyword or ASIN that they were on, or the keyword that they searched. But with organic, there's nothing, there's no data on that, so we're kind
That's
of.
that's the point of organic. Organic means that they typed in something and they organically clicked on your ad. Amazon doesn't give us that insight. They only give us the insight on if it's an ad that they clicked on. So that's PPC. So just want to make that distinction. I know some newer folks don't know that distinction, but that is what it is, the difference between those. So next up, I see a great one from Jeffrey Parker. Thank you for saying you like enjoying the insight. Glad you like the insight. So, how do we move up to larger keywords over time? Does a larger keyword get replaced in, say, the title for the smaller keyword, maybe in the bullets? Not sure. So, Mina kind of covered this in the session. I don't know if you were listening to him talking about looking at the different keywords. Are you indexed for them? Are they in your title? Are they in your bullet? So maybe, I don't know, I mean, if you want to give a little bit more detail here, maybe to help clarify this question.
Yeah, so I think he's saying like moving up to larger keywords, or as you're going through the different keywords, your title should definitely have the high search volume keywords. So it should never ever have this lower search volume and then you make it higher. So it should always be the highest search volume keywords. And then how do you move up to larger keywords over time? It's just you start running them in PPC. If they're not seeing any movement, you try adding them in different places on the listing, like your bullet points, but not the title. The title, I mean, if it's a larger keyword, if it's the largest keyword, it should already be in the title. But let's say it's a larger keyword that's not in the title, and the title is full of all the highest, biggest keywords, then just move it up by launching PPC on it, and broad phrase and exact different campaigns, and then if that's not working, put it in the listing in the bullet points, or something, and maybe in the enhanced brand content, in the search terms or the subject matter, something like that, and then see how that's going to go, and if it is like helps it improve the organic ranking. So that's what I would do.
Perfect. Yep. A great answer there. So right below that, we got Mark. Any tips on getting approved for a seller account? Oh wait, so this is a good question. So these kinds of questions, again, I don't know. This is not related to PPC. So any questions that are on here that are not related to PPC, we are going to skip. So don't be offended. Just know that that's not the point of the session. So, all right. Looks like Mateen's got a good question about ACOS. My campaign ACOS is under 26% and the ROAS is 3.85, but I want to increase my sales. How do I get to this landmark? So there's no magic thing that we can say. We get these kind of questions as well. There's not enough information here for us to really kind of dive into what you would need to do. It could be, we might look at your campaign, we might look at your product, and the product listing might be terrible, right? So then that would be the answer. It'd be like, well, first start with your product listing. So again, with these types of questions, guys, it has to be things that we can actually answer. This kind of questions we would need a lot more data in order to accurately tell you, how to increase your sales from X to X. So I think Mark did a follow-up question that is something that we can answer right below that. Should I not concentrate so much on ranking? If I sourced a great product, however, the rank is 3,800, but monthly searches for the product are high and revenue is through the roof. So what do you think about that? Should you be that concerned about ranking if you're doing really well?
Yeah, why not, right? Like if you're doing well, you can also do better, unless you're like the number one person in the category and have position one on organically on every single keyword in the entire category, then there's room for improvement. So the goal here is just to improve everything. Like, like I don't understand, like, Should I not concentrate so much on ranking? Like maybe should you not be upset if your ranking is not good? Sure, yeah. Don't kind of feel bad if your ranking is not great. If you sourced a great product, and the monthly searches are high and the revenues through the roof, great. And then attempt to increase your organic ranking, and as a result, get more sales. That's all.
Yeah. So, just to note, like everyone has different products. So you might be in a product category or niche that's very, very small, very unique. So if that's the case, you're not going to have a lot of competition. So you're not going to have to worry about things like ranking as much as somebody else that maybe is in a very competitive, category or niche. So it really all depends. There's different variables, but it sounds like you're in a very a good spot there, Mark.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. The next question, let's see that I see here that is applicable. Joby, do you create exact, broad, and phrase match campaigns, 3 campaigns for each keyword that you want to rank for? Yeah. So Mina kind of talked about this briefly, but yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I do. I do 3 separate campaigns for the keyword. And the reason is, and by the way, you don't have to. You can start with one match type and then, the other, then the other. And as long as you're following, right? Because it's just it's like you're turning on the shower, right? You turn on the hot water, you put your hand in. Is it too hot or is it not hot enough? And based on whatever it is, you do it. So you can create exact. If you see that your ranking is going up, great. Let it be. If you see that it's not going up as much as you'd like it, you can launch a broad and phrase. At the end of the day, if that broad keyword is triggering for a different keyword, so let's say the broad keyword is mushroom coffee, and then the exact is mushroom coffee lion's mane, the actual keyword, the customer search term, you'll get, because of that ad, you'll get benefit for mushroom coffee. You'll get a little bit of benefit. As far as we know anecdotally. Now, I don't know Amazon's rules or algorithm or exactly how it works, but it's kind of what we've seen. So you will get some benefit from the broad and the phrase. And the better thing about the broad versus the exact is the broad will actually probably convert a lot more and faster than the exact, because it gets a lot more searches, because it's triggering for a lot of different keywords. So you would be able to rank better having all 3 match types.
Yeah. Perfect. So right below that, Ellen asks, can we get a share of that sheet he was using? So this was the reason why I mentioned that my takeaway was that you got to create your own processes. So
Yeah.
No, Ellen, we're not going to give you his sheet. You just have to, maybe rewatch this. This is always available on our YouTube channel, so you can rewatch this.
It's not like a secret. It's not
Right.
a secret. There's literally nothing in the sheet. It's literally the keywords, my keywords, and then the dates.
Organic ranking.
The dates. Yeah. So it's like all you have to do to create the sheet is put in your keywords, the search volume, and then the dates that you're documenting the organic rank. That's it. So
Right.
in 3 seconds, you can have your own sheet.
Exactly. All right. Right into that, Tony asks, at what point does it make sense to outsource PPC and hire an agency? So I have my views on that. I really think that it's important for new sellers. If you have the time, really, you should try to do the PPC yourself. If you've got a couple of products, especially if it's not too much, really try to learn the PPC yourself as much as possible, because that way, and then leverage a tool like Atomic, or if you're using a different tool, obviously I prefer to use our PPC tool. But number one, you'll understand the benefit of using it. If you're doing PPC manually and then you use a tool like Atomic, you're going to go like, oh wow, I don't have to really go and download all these search term reports anymore. It's all here in Atomic, and I'm getting bid suggestions, and I don't have to spend time thinking about that. So you really have to learn PPC, I think, at the beginning in order to appreciate tools, and then to really appreciate what an agency can do for you. And you really want to kind of be able to know what is the agency doing for you. But from a timing perspective, Mina, what do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. Definitely educate yourself first. Understand how PPC works so you can keep the agency accountable. I would say, and this is kind of like, I'm not talking about a PPC agency. If I'm going to hire a Facebook agency or a Google agency, since, I'm doing the PPC, as soon as I can afford to pay them their fees, and even if in 2 months they can increase the profits by that amount, and like essentially I'm breaking even, right? it's good because it buys you time back. So first, make sure that you are knowledgeable enough that you can interview, let's say, 5 agencies and figure out who knows what, and if they're the right fit or not. So that's number one. Number two, is as soon as you can afford it. So let's say their monthly fee is $1,000, and like, okay, your right now your revenue is 20,000, your profit is 4,000, and you're increasing at 10%. If you need to, you need like an extra $2,000 a month to increase your number of units that you're buying, then wait till you have, let's say, like $5,000, and so you can take 1,000 or 2,000 and pay it to that agency. Now your profit's going to go down, but if in 2 months they can bring you back that profit, so now you're at 7, which is back to the net where you started. Now you just bought yourself time, and you have someone else doing it. And that's the goal with everything, is so you can do that. And then when you do it with Facebook, it's the same thing. How soon can I afford it? And then as soon as I can afford it, go for it, pay for it. Because even if they break even after a couple months or 3 months or whatever, now you just have time, and you become the CEO, and you're leveraging everyone else, and you still keep your time. But if you're doing PPC and you're doing listing optimization, you're doing organic ranking, whatever, you're kind of going to run out of time. Now, the alternative to an agency is also a VA, which is like whatever, better, cheaper, if you think it's better or cheaper, but you have to train a VA. So if you're at a position where you're very strong in PPC and you can train a VA, great, go for it. Otherwise, probably better to use an agency. Obviously, after, like we talked about, you can first do it yourself, use Atomic, and then maybe you can use an agency if you choose.
Later. Yeah, exactly. All right. Great question. Great question and answer. Next, we're going to go to Hemant. Now, before we answer this question, I have to admit my computer is dying. So the battery is not charged. I'm at 2%, so I'm probably about to get kicked off this. So I'm going to. We got 7 minutes left. I'm gonna lean on you, Mina, because I'm gonna go out in any second now, and
No worries.
literally
Go plug it. I'll take care of the questions.
No, there's no plug-in. I looked earlier. I thought I'd have enough power to get through the session, but so let's get into this question. And when I disappear, guys, I apologize. Mina's gonna take over and take it till 11. So okay. Singular and plural. What do you think? I actually like to target both. Do you think you have to?
Dude, I honestly, I don't know. I haven't messed around with it enough to really understand. I think Brandon Young mentions something like only do singular because it hits both. Sure. But I'm not sure. I don't have enough data. I haven't messed around with it, so I don't want to give an answer that's going to be wrong.
Yeah. So I'll give my quick answer. I think you should do both because they get different results. Like I've got a client that has crutches, but Amazon connects crutch and crutches, right? Because it's plural.
Yeah.
Crutch performs terribly, right? But crutches performs well. So if you've got words like that, you really, in my opinion, you should just test them. And then you'll know, okay, what does the plural do better than the singular? Does the singular? And then you can just make the other one negative. And then you're not wasting any money on Amazon. The other thing I've seen too, I don't know if you've seen this, is exact match keywords. Amazon's connecting other words to them, like at or from or the, which I don't know what do you feel about that when exact match keywords aren't exactly
the exact match?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen it happen all the time. The thing is, like, I don't look too much at the keywords, right? Because I'm super data driven. So I'm just like keyword. Yeah. Search term. It's good, good. It's bad. Cut the bid down. I download the search term report, pull the customer search terms, launch them. So I'm not actually looking at the keywords, because then you start getting emotional, right? Like, oh, I should be ranking well for mushroom coffee, chocolate powder flavor, because that's exactly my product. And then you start kind of thinking of things. And I'm like, I don't want to think about, I want to look at the data. If the data says it's good, it's good. If the data says it's bad, it's bad.
It's bad. Exactly. Yeah. Don't get married to your keywords. All right. Yeah. Dominic says, when increasing the budgets, how do you deal with inventory management? I know that's a topic on a lot of people's minds. Considering you don't want the product to go out of stock, it may take 20 days to arrive. So, what do you think? In this case, as with
don't run out of stock. Do not. Yeah.
Don't run out of stock, but you might not have the choice because your inventory is sitting out there, in the Pacific right now.
Yeah, it is
How much
what it is. If
control do
you
you think you
run
have?
out, yeah, don't increase your budget then. If you're
Right.
gonna run out of stock, yeah, just always do whatever you can with the stock that you have, because the biggest thing is, like, if you run out of stock, Amazon, like, I don't know, they hate you. They make it
Yeah.
horrible. They make your
So
life horrible.
so the opposite to this question, Dominic, is should you decrease your budgets when you know you're going to go out of stock, right? So instead of talking about increasing budgets, I would suggest, if you know you're going to run out of stock, decrease your PPC budgets, or maybe even turn your PPC off. Although you don't want your PPC to be off for that long either, because you want to be
This
in the
is a
out.
huge controversy, which is, do
Right.
you run
Worse
out
for
of
people.
stock while you're selling fast, or do you cut down? I don't know.
My personal answer to that is keep your PPC campaigns on, but decrease your budgets, so you're not spending as much, and you're not.
I'll tell you this much. The answer to this question is, like, the importance of it is 1%, because in your business, you should generally never ever run out of stock.
Correct.
So don't worry too much about this, because that's like saying, like, like, if a very bad thing happens in my business every single time, what should I do? Like, there should not be a bad thing happening in your business. You should build a business. So I would say, like, whatever happens. Listen to Vince, and just really focus on never running out of stock. Now, do you have to take out an SBA loan or something, or go use a lender so you can have a lot more units in stock because you see yourself that you're selling well? Do it, but just build your business in a way that you can continue to grow without ever running out of stock.
Perfect. Yep. I see a supplements question. I don't know if you want to answer this one from
Yes,
Pritesh.
let's do it.
Mina. Okay, we know two high potential categories. So what match type do you prefer to start PPC when you launch new? And what's the next step when you put it in a list to implement?
So when I'm launching, I do all three match types, right? Because exact is great, but it's not going to tell me what else is good. Auto, broad, and phrase, they're the ones that go out there and they convert for a lot of different search terms. And then you actually get data on those search terms and you say, wow, like, these are all really profitable search terms that I can launch. So then I extract those search terms from the search term report and then put them in their own campaigns and continue to scale the number of campaigns that I have. So definitely all match types. The exact helps with the ranking and with the indexation and stuff. The broad and phrase and the auto help you to discover a lot of potentially profitable keywords, and they also perform on their own. So they also convert, they also make sales, and then you figure out what made the sale. All right, so we lost Vince. No, oh, you're back. No, nah, it looks like we lost him. Okay, cool. So I'll keep going through the questions. We have 1 more minute. Okay. Do you think it's okay to change your title after you are moving up and started with smaller keywords? Yes, always look to improve your title. Just try and make sure that your title has the biggest and main keywords in there. So don't change your title to have, like, lower search volume keywords. I don't think that's a good idea. Okay, so when should you start auto campaign from the 7th day? No, I think you should start it from day 1. Start it immediately. Your goal is to immediately get reviews. So put all of your focus on getting reviews, 5-star reviews. So people can the listing can convert well. But you should start from day 0, because you can also convert, like, and it's the honeymoon. So if you wait till 7 days, you just lost 7 days in your honeymoon. And so that's the downside to not starting the auto campaign. Now, I know some people say the auto campaign might be bad because it doesn't understand what you're listing and all this kind of stuff. I've never seen that happen personally. I know Brandon Young mentioned it. I've never seen it happen. If you open up your auto campaign and you start seeing that you're for a bunch of irrelevant search terms, okay, maybe turn it off. But I rarely ever see that. I've never seen that. Okay, next, how to decide bidding strategy and what should be the best bid for a particular keyword. I also don't know the different, like, I know there's down bid, up, down, and fixed bids. I've seen that down bid spends less than up, down. I haven't seen one of them be better than another consistently to say you should use just this one. So just be aware. If you use up and down, it's going to spend more. If you use down bid only, it's going to spend less. That's all. I'm already tracking many keywords on keyword tracker. How can I track only the new keywords list that I have extracted just now using your method? You don't have to, right? What you can do is you can start from now. So you can, or if you want to only track the new list, like the way that I showed it, go in keyword tracker, delete everything that you're currently tracking, and then upload the new list. And so you'll have that list, or just add to that list, unless the keywords that you have in there are like bad keywords, and they don't make any sense. If they're decent keywords, that's fine. Keep them in there. It's not going to hurt. And then just add the new keywords, and then wait a little bit until they figure out what your organic ranking is. And then maybe the next day, 24 hours later, download the organic ranking, write the date, and then every week download the organic ranking and write the date and see what's the ranking. Okay, so Jason, do sponsored brand and sponsored display contribute to organic ranking, or only sponsored product? Good question. I think both sponsored brand and sponsored display now have. I'm not sure. One of them has keyword. You can launch 4 keywords. So I think one of them does, the other doesn't, or both of them might have it. I'm not 100% sure. I have to like go and look. But if there's ever a way where they say, are you gonna launch sponsored brands? Do you want to do keyword or product targeting? And you choose keyword and you put in a keyword, then they'll contribute to the organic ranking for sure. So Facebook user says the high rank 3800 was a main category, but in the sun category, the rank is number 8. Okay, in the subcategory. So yeah, I mean, again, that doesn't change anything. If you can continue to rank higher organically on all of the keywords, unless you're on position 1 for every single keyword possible in that category or subcategory, which I don't think anyone is like that, then continue to invest in ranking better organically. Chris says, how are you varying your research tracking setup for a variation listing? Say a listing where the multiple items just vary by cent. This is a very good one. So this is a tough one. Usually, I'm trying to track each variation individually, where they show up in the organic ranking. And I'm each variation, even though you can choose the 2 different ones, I'm trying to see where they're ranking organically, and then basically, if there's a benefit to ranking one over the other, I'm going to focus on ranking that one. So I've seen a lot of times where I have 2 different products and I'll launch different PPC campaigns, and I noticed that this one, the PPC campaigns that I keep launching, they keep just giving sales to the other one because the other one is the better one. Maybe this is a 1-pack and this is a 2-pack, and the 2-pack is way better price or something. Then I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop focusing on this one, and I'm just going to focus on this one, because every time I do anything with this, it all goes to that one. So in that case, that's what I would do. But I would track them individually, okay, and then I would try and influence the one that converts a lot better, because at the end of the day, people are going to click on one, and once they click on that one, they're going to go and they're going to pick the better one. So at least have the better one always ranked high up. Rich Winjet said, sorry if I butchered the name. You mentioned advertising coffee in places or against products like creamer. What would be the KPIs for that? Click-through rate, etc., versus ACOS. So on sponsor products advertising, it'll just the regular KPIs, right? You're looking at ACOS. You have a certain ACOS number that at that ACOS number, it's profitable. Above it, it's not profitable anymore. So that's kind of because it's sponsored product, right? It doesn't feed into anything. It either converts or it doesn't. With DSP, the main page view rate, because I want just a lot of people to click, and as they click, I'm hoping that they're going to convert. Okay, guys, I have to hop off because I have another podcast right now that I'm supposed to be recording. So thank you guys so much. We have a ton of questions, so I'm sorry I can't get to all of them, but I'm sure Vince will have me on later. Another Tacos Tuesday, maybe in a couple months or something, and we can answer a lot more questions. So thank you guys. Thank you for showing up, and love you all.